has a special meeting for our next speaker because he is a Vietnam veteran. And he's going to have a speech for us this afternoon from the basic manual, Inspire Your Audience. The speech is called Reflections on the Wall. Please join me in welcoming for 6 to 8 minutes, Herb.
In honor of the men and the women of the armed forces of the United States who served during the Vietnam War, the names of those who gave their lives and of those who remain missing are engraved in the order in which they were taken. Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, quietly I stood at the apex of the wall, reflections of my past melding with the present, the living with the dead. Slowly I traversed its length, pausing to touch, to read, to remember my fallen comrades. Charles Schoonover, Hal Hollingsworth, January the 15th, 1966. Charlie and Hal were returning from a night mission over the South when they crashed at sea. Charlie, Hal, was a youngster, red-headed fellow from Boise, Idaho, was one of my roommates at our home base in Sanford, Florida. I was his replacement in the squadron, and it was I who packed his things to send home to his mother and father. Robert P. Hansen, missing in action, February 3rd, 1966. Bob was flying with Jerry Coffey, who survived as a prisoner of war for 7 years. Bob, an engineer from Cleveland, Ohio, was one of my classmates in flight school. But more about Bob later. Tom Colstead, Bill Leonard, October 22nd, 1966. Tom and Bill were struck by a missile near the city of Viet. Intelligence sources said that Bill survived the crash, but committed suicide rather than be captured. Bill was another of my roommates at Sanford. He was quite a ladies' man, or at least he thought so. And he really loved that red sports car of his. Lawrence Harmon, Charlie Hom, August 27th, 1967. Larry and Charlie were off the North Vietnamese coast when their plane exploded. Charlie was my roommate on our first cruise to Vietnam. I was an attendant at his wedding to Pam. About 2 months after we returned from the first cruise, the skipper called us into his office and said that one of us would be leaving the squadron and being transferred to another squadron for a second tour in Vietnam. Pam thought it should be me because I was a bachelor. Charlie was chosen. Pam never forgave me. Ed White, Ramey Carpenter, May 31st, 1969. Ed and Ramey were shot down on a secret mission over Laos. Ramey was a grade school friend of mine. His mother was my fourth grade teacher. A week before he left, I was playing cards with him and his wife, Karen. November the 3rd, 1981, Hickam Hawaii. The strains of taps echoed across the tarmac. As the 11th flag-draped casket was removed from the C-141, the officer announced, Robert T. Hanson, Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, February 3rd, 1966. After more than 25 years, Bob was once again on American soil. Welcome home, my friend. And to all of my fallen comrades, rest in peace. The Vietnam War ripped asunder the fabric of American society. No war in our past had ever been so long. No war save the civil so divisive. And yet the wall has provided an opportunity for those who fought for the war to reconcile with those who fought against it. It has provided us a common ground to speak with each other and to understand each other's positions. We have learned much from the Vietnam War. But one thing that it has shown us for sure is that never again can we commit the blood and the lives of our young men and our young women, our brothers and our sisters, our mothers and our fathers, to war unless our vital interests are at stake. For me, for you, and for all Americans, there are reflections